city whenever they decide they want to put it up. Surfboards, stained glass. And I see your surfboard up there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. There's a couple in here. That's nice. The city of Agoura?
No, Malibu.
Oh, where are they going to? Are they going to?
City Hall, he's donating it, but they're just so slow in saying yes and yes.
Oh, that doesn't sound like Malibu at all.
Yeah, and they even had that surfboard exhibit, and he didn't want to go in it, so he didn't submit. But he submitted after saying, "I want to donate this to the city." So,
how funny!
I know.
You know what? They're very slow about things. So what we're going to start with, we're going to do a little color light shadow study using a very simple shape, which is in this case a pear. And I want you to start by painting your canvas red.
Is this going to be for all four of them on the page?
Yes. It's just to give us a nice mid-tone color to pop off of. And
wow.
Yeah.
Got to put out some more red then.
Yes, put out some more red. We'll be using a little red throughout. And do you have a hairdryer handy? I'm thinking maybe we can get through this if we have a hairdryer.
Yeah, I do have one. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm gonna while you paint your canvas red, I'm going to put my hairdryer on. So once you get it painted red, let's blow dry it so we can keep going.
Oh, okay, I'm almost done
Right.
painting it.
Take your time. Okay, sorry, I just realized I didn't mute myself. It's probably really loud. Okay, how you doing, Shelley? You there?
Drawing. Red is very thick.
Okay.
Hang on a minute. This red just won't dry. I'm gonna blot it. Blot the places that are
You
too
know what?
thick.
What you can do, Shelley, is just take a paper towel and rub it off because
Yeah, that's what I just said.
it just needs to be a wash. It doesn't need to be thick paint. In fact, it should not be thick paint at this stage.
Oh, it's funny. It looks like it's wet, but it's not.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's hardened into sticks.
It's hardened into sticks.
Yeah, they look like sticks. You can't really see. But it looks like tree branches.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Well, that you can work with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we're going to just divide our canvas into 4. Doesn't need to be rocket science. Just divide it into 4. Down the middle, down the middle.
Okay.
And then once that's done, we're going to draw our 4 pear shapes. Easy to do. A pear is just a circle.
What are you using?
I'm just using charcoal so you can really see it nicely. But you can use a brush. In fact, you know what? Let's just do it that way. I'm going to use a brush so that you can see it, see that you can actually draw with your brush. So I'm going to in a very sketchy sort of way with my white paint, I'm going to draw a circle. And then I'm going to put a little triangle on top of it with the point facing up. And I'm going to do that everywhere. And I want each of your pears to be different. Like I said, they don't need to be perfect circles because pears are round, but they're not a perfect circle. And then I want you to put a little triangle on top. Have one lean to the left, have one lean to the right. We want to give these pears their individuality. So I got another circle there, another triangle there. I'm going to make this one kind of oblong and funny looking. And then I'm going to make a triangle going this way. Why not? All right, so in a very casual sense, we got our shapes in. I'm trying to get this to... There we go. And then let's give our little pears a tabletop to sit on. So I'm going to put a little line, and I don't, just for the sake of making this painting more interesting, let's put our tabletops at different levels. So I'm going to put this one up higher on the right. Maybe this one's a little bit lower. But they should be on a nice, even horizontal, right? So you're going to draw from left to right, skip over the pear, pick it up on the other side, and finish it. And this one I'm going to do here, much lower. Skip over the pear, pick it up on the other side, like that. Now at this point, I'm not going to put the stems in. We'll put the stems in much later. But the whole idea to make your painting pop, we're going to talk about a few different things here. We're going to talk about value and hue, which is color, and light and shadow. So in this case, for all of my pears, I'm going to establish my light source. And for this painting, we're going to make our light source here. You don't need to draw this part. I'm just putting it here for emphasis. This represents my sunshine or my light source, just so we remember where it is. And it's shining down on the left side of our pear. So we know that the left side of the pear is going to be very bright and the right side of the pear is going to be in shadow. So let's start off by finishing up our pear shapes. So we've got our basic shapes down, our circle and our triangle. And then we're going to round this off at the top and create these kind of funny, join these shapes together. So we'll create our pear shape. So we'll finish it off that way. Because we know that pears are round at the top. I'm going to join up this middle section so that they are all one unit. Still using my white. Okay. Let's do one over here. This is a really funny looking pear. I love it. Okay. So now we've got our pears drawn and we're ready to start in with the fun part, the color. So the principle on this is to remember, when we have our light source established, then we know that this side, if the light is up here, then this is going to be our dark side. We know there's going to be a cast shadow down below. So how are we going to make this pear pop off the page? Very simply, we put dark against light, light, dark against light, dark, light. That's it. So if the light is on the left in the background, or excuse me, if the light is on the left, then the dark is going to be on the right, and the reverse is true for the background. It's just it's an effect. So no matter what color we paint these pears, we're going to keep those principles in mind. And then what happens down the middle, Shelley, is that we've got these midtones. And the midtones, we're going to play with a little bit of color theory, and we're going to bounce around on our color wheel to give us some colors to work with. So for this upper left pear, we're going to start with a dark blue background just to start talking about things. So come back in with a nice square brush and let's just establish this background as being dark blue or blue. You can add a little black into it if you want it to be extra dark, which is what I just did here, but I want it to mainly be a blue, so I might go back into it. And I'm not going to do anything with the table just yet. I'm going to put some blue in here, and I'm going to do it in short, chunky strokes, just to start. Try in a conscious way not to wipe out that red background. Let that red background show through here and there. While I've got the blue on my brush, I'm going to establish the dark side of the pear. And I'm going to pop in a little blue on this side just to get it going. And I'm going to paint it in the shape of the pear. In the contour of the pear, I'm following that roundness of the pear. Okay. And then while I'm there too, with that blue, I'm going to establish the cast shadow. So I'm going to grab it from right underneath the pear and pull it off to the right. And just kind of lay that in a very quick way. And let's see, if I look at the color wheel, if I'm putting blue in the background, then generally speaking, just to help me go in some direction, the contrast of blue is orange. So I'm going to maybe put some orange looking, something orange looking. It doesn't have to be an exact science, but I know I want to go orange. So I'm going to grab a little yellow, a little white, and a little red. I'm going to make myself kind of a peachy color. Let me show you what that's looking like. And I want to put that alongside the other side of my pear. And there's our contrast. Now what happens in the middle? We just start blending those two colors together. And at some point, they just kind of blur together. And we want to keep working in short, chunky strokes. Like that. All right, we're halfway there. Let's take some of that beautiful peach that we just made, and let's put it in our mid-tone. Mid-tone, the middle, between the light and the dark. Actually, maybe we can establish this to be our light side. So take that peach that we just made and take it all the way over to the edge. Again, you want to be working in short, chunky little strokes. All right. We're halfway there. I'm still using a rather broad brush, as you can see, but I can switch back and forth to a smaller brush. I'm going to just pull out a couple of smaller brushes here. Ah, this is the one I was looking for. I just wanted a smaller brush to work with too, so I'm pulling a couple of smaller brushes aside. Maybe I want to take a different kind of blue and just stick it up in here, make it fun. No two paintings alike on this exercise. There we go. Once you've got that done, let's keep going. Let's finish up our pears. If I make this right side, this left side of this pear red, then what I want to do for the opposite is make the light side green. And I don't mean pure green, I just mean in the green family and light. So color theory is all about complementing colors so that they pop right off the canvas. Now I know I've already got red on this side of this pear, but I'm just adding more red because I painted that little sun in the corner. So there's my red, and I'm going to put some red on this side just to get it wet. And I'm going to put some red on the bottom. And I want to quickly establish the light side. So the light side, like I said, it's going to be in the green family, but we want it to be light. So I'm going to take a little blue, a little yellow, and a lot of white, just to get a pale green. And we're going to come around and we're going to hug the hair on this side. And then in the middle, we'll just let those two colors blend together. I'm not trying to paint in the whole canvas. In fact, I'm kind of loving that there's some red showing through there. I'm going to take that same light green and I'm going to put it on the light side of my pear. And while I've got this beautiful green, Shelley, we need to finish our tables. So I'm going to jump back over here to the first one, and I'm going to just go ahead and use that color to finish up my table. And I'm keeping it very loose, very painterly, just to establish that. And we'll pick a different color for the other table, maybe purple or something, but just to get it going. And there we have number 2 finished. Not finished, it's just our first session through. Okay. The third one on the bottom left, I made very dark, but still in the blue family. So let's see what will happen if we make this one really purple. If we make that one purple, then the opposite color is going to be in the yellow family, right? Here's violet. The opposite of violet is yellow. So let's try that. Let's make a purple. Purple is going to be red and blue together. Make a lot of it. And we're going to use that purple a lot for the other ones as well. Making a nice purple here. And I'm going to paint that in on this left side. I'm going to paint the left side of my pear, the right side of my pear, the dark side, I should say. I didn't make enough color. It happens to me all the time. Make some more. All right, around, and then I'm going to take that same color and make myself a cast shadow. The cast shadow starts right under the pear. I need another layer up here. I'm going to make some more purple. Keep it nice and fresh. All right. All right, there's our third guy. And our last one, let's see, I'm going to do something fun. Oh, I have an idea. Let's do a nice green. And let's, for this last one on the bottom, let's make a dark green to go on the left side of the background. So dark green. It's going to be blue and yellow again, just to make our first green. And if you need to darken it up even more, add a tiny bit of black to it, just a tiny bit, just to tone it down a little bit. Here we go. Here's our dark green. Letting the yellow show through too. And then we'll use that same color to establish our dark side of the pear. You want it to curve around the shape of the pear and then create your cast shadow. And now as long as we've got that green going, I like this green, I'm going to use it for my table up here. I'm letting my red shadow show through. You know, that's not going to work. You know why? Because my shadow in this case is lighter than my background. So all I need to do Just change that up. So don't do what I just did. If you're going to make the table, let's lighten that up with maybe a lighter blue. See what that does. Yeah, we need to lighten that up because my shadow can't be, or my table can't be lighter than my shadow. So we'll start here. Just needed to lighten that up a bit. Remembering that there's not too many mistakes you can make on this one. Okay, let's finish up our backgrounds for these bottom two. So we made this bottom left one in the violet family. So we're going to make the right side of it in the light yellow family. So I'm just going to grab pure yellow, stick it in here. It's a little opaque, I mean, it's a little transparent, so I added some white into it to get it to be a little bit more opaque, but it's still in the yellow family. And while I've got this beautiful yellow, I'm going to take that yellow and I'm going to do the light side of my pear. There we go. How about if I put a little bit of that yellow up here on the tabletop? Just a little bit for fun. I want to keep it interesting, so maybe I'm going to pop in a little bit of that yellow over here too. And on this bottom pair, our opposite of green, dark green, is going to be light red. So why don't we make that pink? Pinky. Feel free to talk to me, Shelley, since it's just you and me today. I'm going to make this pink because I really want to emphasize the contrast. So I'm letting a little bit of that red show through, and then I'm going to take that beautiful pink that we just made and do the light side of my pear. And then what are we going to do for the bottoms? I'm going to find some colors that are going to complement our tables. So if I made this lavender and I made the opposite yellow, then a nice secondary color is going to be either in the orange family or in the blue-green family. I want to do a blue-green. Really, really, really want to do a blue-green. So I'm going to. How do I make a blue-green? It's basically just your yellow, lots of yellow, a little bit of blue, and a little bit of white will get you a nice turquoise family. Just keep playing with it till you get your ratio here. I always like to do the color mixing in this class so that we all get really good at color mixing. But if you've got this already done in a tube, why not use that? But for the moment, we're limited to what these colors can create for us. But I think I got a nice turquoise going on here. The key is to add a little bit of white into it. And let's put that on the base of our lavender background. let some red show through for fun. Okay. And I love this color so much, I'm going to use it as my mid-tone in the middle of the pear, taking some of this turquoise and going between the two, the dark and the light, to finish up my pear. Just little wispy brush strokes, like that. You see how the red is showing through here? It's popping through. That is just to make it interesting and fun and happy. I'm very happy with this. This is not finished though, but we're going to get there. We got our background here. We got this. Let's see what we're going to do with this table. This table is going to be, let's see, if we have green and red, then my tertiary colors are going to be yellow, orange, or excuse me, this is secondary colors. Yellow, orange, or blue, violet. I'm going to go with yellow, orange, because then I can use some of that yellow, orange color to put right into the pear. So here we go, yellow, orange. And I'm going to put it right there on the bottom. Maybe add a little white to it so it brightens up a little. There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. More of a yellow orange. Oops. Went right over my shadow. Okay. So since I used some yellow orange on the tabletop, and I still have some, I'm going to start putting some of that yellow orange in our mid-tone area. And now we're going to start developing our pears. So you've got all these colors mixed on your palette, and as long as they're still wet, we can use them for some fun. So I'm taking that all the way over and letting it dry. I'm going to go back and take that mid-tone turquoise that I had for this base table. I'm going to take a little bit of that turquoise. It's just not dark enough. All right, I know what we need to do. We're going to make this pear turquoise for now, Shelley, on this side. We'll change it up in a minute, but we need to establish some contrast here. Okay. All right. Basically, we've got the first half of our painting done. I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller brush and start adding in. We're going to work left to right, left to right. So let's start with our top one that's blue. And let's work with our blue. To refine our initial paint that we put down. And then I wanted to do a mid-tone. The mid-tone that I used was a peachy. So I'm going to come back in. I might have to remix a little bit of it, but you know what? It's not an exact science. Don't worry if you don't get the exact color back. As long as we do our mid-tone highlights and shadows, dark to light to dark to light, we're going to be in good shape. So now I've mixed another peach. I'm going to come in and get my mid-tone. I'm going to just kind of feather it in to the dark. Maybe I'll pop a little extra in over here. I'm doing it very lightly so I don't completely cover up my pear. And then I'm going to start guiding it into the light side. And now I'm going to really emphasize the lightness of it. So I just took my brush that's got lots of peach on it and I added white to my brush. I didn't rinse it out, I just added white to it, and it takes it very light. And I want to put a little bit on the fattest side, the plump side of the pear shape. And now maybe I want to go even a little lighter for a hot highlight. A highlight is where the light is really the furthest, the furthest out, touching the our imaginary light that's over here. So I put a little highlight here, just on the top side that's facing our imaginary light over here. And since our pear is in principle in the yellow, green, red family, I'm going to pop in maybe a little bit of red for fun. Because you know those, I don't know what they're called. I think they're called Anjou pears. They have red in them. I'm going to keep it over here in the shadow family over here. A little bit of red, and maybe I'm going to poke in a little bit of green. But I want to keep it in just little dabbles of it, so that your eye says, oh yeah, that's a pear. I'm gonna call that guy finished. You might need a little bit, actually, as I'm looking here, might need a little bit of darkness over here on the very opposite side of the moon here. So I'm just kind of feathering that in. Nice, choppy, light brush strokes. We're going to call this one finished. All right, so while you're working on yours, I'm going to show you how I do the stem. I'm going to take this stem, I'm going to make it black. I'm not going to put it on the top of the pear, I'm going to put it in a little bit. Down and just out. That's it. I'm going to take that same black that I just used, and I'm going to just create a little dark line right there, right at the bottom. Just a line, just a tiny little black line. The reason I do that, I don't always do it, but in this case, I really want to emphasize the fact that this pear is sitting firmly on a table. So when things are sitting on a surface, the darkest point is right where the object meets the surface that it's sitting on, right at the bottom, because no light is getting in there, so it makes sense that that's the darkest part. But out here, as we move further out from the darkest part, we might get, it's going to get lighter. Maybe I'll put a little bit of extra blue in there just for fun. Now I want to put extra blue in here. That's it. He's my guide. He's it. I put yellow up here. I like reflected light. I think reflected light is so exciting in a painting, and I try not to forget to put it in. So what I mean by that is I put some yellow here. I don't know, it's random. Maybe it's random, but what would happen if I reflected some of that yellow up here? Just a little bit of it. Maybe it's reflecting here. Just a little dab, like a little sparkle. All right. See, now all of a sudden this pear just got more exciting because I reflected a little bit of this sparkle color in there. Maybe I'm going to put a little sparkle color that maybe influenced the shadow here. There we go. So now I've got a little yellow going on down in there too. And it just got even more interesting. So that's what you can just keep playing with your lights and darks, your midtones, your contrasting colors, your complementary colors, and keep going over that in your mind as you're finishing up your pear. I'm going to call this one finished. And now I'm going to move on to my right pear. Again, we've got the color theme here is pretty much complements of red and green. But this needs to be a lot darker. So I'm going to go back into my red and I'm going to add just the tiniest bit of black to it. Tiniest bit of black to my red so that I can take this down even darker. And you know, I had already put a bit of turquoise green in the middle, so that's nice. I can leave that there. Do that. And I want to give that dark red here. And since I've created this new red, I'm going to pop a little bit of it over here on the other side of the pear, dark against light, dark against light. And I'll spread that up and let it feather out into nothing. And all of a sudden it's looking kind of glowy. And since I created kind of a turquoise midtone here, I'm just going to dabble in with sparkly colors of red. And I'm going to keep them mid-tone like this and let it blend back in to that turquoise and that dark, dark red. This little guy is much more red than the other ones. And I'm going to put a little streak of red right at the end of the shadow. And I'm not going to do the stem yet because we still want to play with this lightness. So red contrasting to green, dark to light. Let's do another light green. I really have to clean my brush because I don't want any red in it. And I come back in here with a very light green, following the curvature of the pear shape. Feather it right back against that nice red. Just feather, feather, feather. Have it come down. Can't go wrong. And you see how I popped in a little bit of yellow? I'm looking around and I'm thinking, how am I going to make this more interesting, more exciting, more fun? Well, I had popped in some yellow here, so why not pop in a little bit of yellow right into my little Anjou pear. I'll pop in a little yellow here, little yellow there to pick up this color. Maybe a little, there's a little yellow there, so maybe I'm just going to pop in a little bit of yellow there, a little bit of yellow there. Still in the dark family, maybe a little bit there. And to finish it up, maybe I put a little yellow right into the shadow, like a little brightness on the shadow. I'm going to come back in and put a few little highlights in, right against the edge, along the most bulbous part of the pear, just on the top. It's going to be on the top half of the pear, right? Here's the bottom half, here's the top half. The light's here, the light is going to come here and touch this, that's going to be the highlight. But it wouldn't make sense to have a highlight down here unless this is very reflective. It could happen, but for the sake of this demo, let's just follow the rules. The loose rules, they're very loose rules. I just feel like I want to put a little bit more green in here. So I'm going to come back in with my little minty green. And now I can finish with my tiny, tiny brush. I'm going to have the stem start in a little bit below the top. And I don't want it to be exactly like that one, so I'm going to go that way. take that same black, I'm gonna just make a tiny little black line under the pear. Let it blend out a little bit, just to give that nice contrast, and I'm gonna blend that out. Oops, with a clean brush would be good. There we go. Let's call him finished. I do see something I want to do with the black. So on this pear, I really want to create a little bit more darkness on this dark side of the moon over here. So I'm just putting some dark red over there, maybe a tiny bit there, just to really emphasize the contrast. And now since I did that, I want to pump up the local color. So I'm just going to pop in a little bit of red here and there. There we go. Better. For me, that's better. So there we go. We've got 2 pears finished. We got our dark to light, dark to light. We're bouncing around some complementary colors. Red to green, blue to orange. Doing great. Let's see what we can do at the bottom. I had made this background violet. Contrast to violet would be yellow. As long as it's in that family, it'll make for a more dynamic painting. And I already have my green established on the bottom. So I'm going to come back in here and create that violet again, just so that I can finish up my pear. So red and blue will make you a nice violet. I'm going to just touch in some more. I already almost finished this one. Just getting in. And I had some green local color, mid-tone color. And then I followed up with the very light yellow on the left side. So let's emphasize that. Really lighten it up. I'm going to come in here with a very, very light yellow. Blend it back into that green. Following the curvature of my pear, maybe a little bit mixes in with the opposite side over here. There too. And it's not light enough, so I'm coming back in with some white and letting that, I don't want it to be pure white, I want it to be that yellow that we were working with. So I'm going to come back in, get some of my yellow, and start blending that in so that we really see the yellow. Maybe what I need to do is just lay in some nice pure yellow in the middle and let it blend back into the darkness so we can really see that yellow. Maybe pop in a little yellow right into the shadow. Maybe put a little bit of red down in here just to create a contrast. And just because I did that, now I want to put a little red in my pear as though it's reflecting this red that I put down in here. So put a little red there, a little red there. My pear just got much more interesting. I'm going to put a little red on that side. Put a little red in the shadow. Come back here and put a little bit more green. I'm going to pop in a little bit more green in here and let it blend back in to my red. Takes it in another direction. All right. Since I got that green, I'm going to pop a little green right into my pear. All the way to the top. So we have a few things going on here. We've got a contrasting violet into yellow, dark to light, dark to light. And then we have some reflective colors coming in from different directions. And I feel like I'm going to put a little bit more green right there. Just a little green. And then my brain says, oh, this is kind of a green, yellow, warm, almost ripe pear. Maybe it's too ripe. Put a little bit there, a little bit. Okay, and now I can finish it with my little stem. Again, I don't want the stems to all be the same, so I'm going to make this one kind of bent, just for fun. There we go. And then I'm going to take that black and just put a tiny bit of line at the bottom. And I'm going to take a clean brush and blend that down. Blend, 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 blend it down and out. And now my pear really looks like it's sitting down there. All right. Look how fast we got through those. Same principles. Let's do it one more time on our bottom right pear. We've got green, dark green going into light red, complementary colors. I have a little bit of orange going at the bottom, so I think I'll start with that just to inspire me. I'm going to make that dark orange again. And I'm going to put it in here as a mid-tone and blend it right back into that dark green side of the pear. So lots of mid-tone, lots of mid-tone. Following the shape of the pear. And let it blend right back into that pear on the other side. So once we get those lights and darks established, the painting almost finishes itself. It's amazing. Pop a little bit in here for reflective color, just for fun. And I really want to contrast that pear, so I'm going to see if I can create a beautiful pink. And work the left side, the light side of my pear. So there's my nice pink, blending it back into that orange that we made. Taking some of that pink over to the bulbous top of the pear and blend that down a little bit. But you know I need to go much lighter than that. Maybe I'm going to take a little, I like that color so much that I'm going to put a little bit at the top here just for fun. Because I don't want my pink background to be completely flat. I want it to have some variety to it. So that helps. But I still need to go lighter, right? So I'll take a little white into my pink and do the edge of my pear. Dabble in that color. Pink, 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 and blending it down on the top half of the pear, following the contour shape of the pear. And since this is a very shiny pear, I'm going to put a nice hot highlight up here too. So it gives that pear a nice waxed look. Where else can I do that? Does any look around, see where else might you be able to put that? Maybe you want a little bit more here. A little bit of light's bouncing off the top of that bulbous part of the pear. But not too light. Make sure it doesn't get too light. Because we want to keep this dark. There we go. I'm just revisiting and seeing where I might want to pop in a few extra colors just to make it fun. There we go. I'm going to take that down a little bit. And I don't want to forget my stem. Do another little stem, and this stem is going to maybe just stick straight up and down. Oh, there we go. And then I'll put a little line at the bottom. Very delicate little line here, just at the bottom of the pear. And I'm going to take a clean brush and blend that black down, down, down until it disappears into the other color. Just like that. All right. I'm going to look before I finish my painting. I'm going to look around and see where I might change it or add to it or tone it down. Over here, I got a little bit too much white showing. So I'm going to go back in with the contrasting green and disguise that white a little bit. Put some green up into that pear here. But now he looks a little bit too more, maybe a little bit too toned. So I'm going to pop in a little bit of yellow in here and see what happens. So we had peach or pinky peach, and now I'm putting some yellow over it. And since I'm putting the yellow in there, maybe I want to put some yellow down in here. This is just to add interest and take your eye on a fun journey. Put a little yellow down in there, and then I'm going to pop a little yellow right there at the base to reflect this yellow. Maybe I'll put a little poke in there, a little sparkle of yellow here. Maybe a little sparkle of yellow just over there, which is a little bit of a... When you see light on this side of the object, you can be sure that's reflected light. Reflected light means here's your strong light, your main focus light, but then you've got light coming in from all other areas. You've got it coming in from the shiny table, reflecting light, or maybe a window or another light in the distance on this side. So you can have a light on this side, but it's usually just a little suggestion of light, because all your main lighting is going to be on this side of the pear. Your hot lights, your highlights. High means high contrast, highlights. There we go. Maybe I'm going to put in a little bit of light on this side. Blend that down. So I've got, look how contrasty I just made that. I love it. And then blend that down. And since it was pink, I can go back in with some pink if I need to. But I want that light against the pear to be very strong. And voila. Doing something like this as a project doesn't have to be a pear. It can be a shoe. It can be anything, but they're really fun to do just to loosen you up and as an exercise into how to make your painting more interesting, more exciting. I like to say I want my painting to be painterly and not a photographic copy, because if I need a photographic copy, I'll just take a photograph. I much prefer, as a painter, I want it to look like a brush hit it. I want to see the brush strokes. And that's just me, that's how I paint. I'm just kind of coming back in and seeing where I want to add. But here's the trick. When do you stop? Well, how do I stop? Do I need more reflective colors to make it interesting? Do I have enough contrast to convince my eye that this is a 3D object? Do I have enough light to dark? Again, to create that contrast. And do I have enough complementary colors going on? Green to red, violet to yellow, blue to peach, red to green, complementary colors. And there you have it. How's yours looking, Shelley?
It's working.
Yes, I imagine. You're pretty good at this.
Get out of this other mode. Show it.
Yes, please, I want to see. Thanks. Okay. So you've got the principles. You just need to play with it a little while longer because your dark sides are, you have no mid-tone yet. You have no mid-tone, right? But you've got your basics down. So play with whatever's going to go on in the middle, right? So the mid-tone means it's a middle color. It's a color between your darkest and your lightest in there. So I'd say you still have some work to do, but it's all in the midtones. Also, you want your shadow to follow the, can you see that? Okay. You want your shadow to follow the contour, the shape of your pear. If your shadow's too straight up and down, it's not going to help the shape of your object. So you want it to follow, so it's coming around and around, around and around, and then let that blend into your other color. But what's going to make it look very round is your mid-tone color. In this case, it's red to pink to yellow. Almost doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's a mid-tone. It'll do the trick. Right, so those are the rules. Let's see what you can do to make a mid-tone. Because I'd like to see that before I let you go, just to make sure you're on the right track.
I threw my paints away already.
Oh, you threw them away?
Yeah.
All right, you want to keep working on it later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome so much. I enjoyed this. Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. It's been a long time.
It has. Well, let's keep it going.
Okay.
All right. Have a
Bye-bye.
great day. Keep going.
You too. Stay cool. How do I leave?
Oop, I don't know how to leave.